Mayak of SC, Hudson of Oregon, Reynolds of UCLA, Jones of Oregon, Shadler of Stanford, Jaspers from UCLA, Mastelier of Stanford, Simmons of Oregon, Hort of Washington, Nasine of Washington, McDowell, Van Kalkar of Oregon State, he was a winner yesterday, Davis of Arizona, Blockhus of Cal, Giusto of Arizona, Morgan of Arizona, Olison of Stanford, you saw him earlier, Navarrete of Washington State. Some guys, here's Nastelier's brother Mark, Jeff Smith of Arizona State, 5,000 meters, 12 and a half times around the oval.
7.5 3/4. Here is Brian Marshall of Stanford.
And Tom, as they cross the finish line right here, they will have 12 laps to go. This is imperially, it's 3.1 miles.
Out in front for Stanford, that is Shadler, Steve Shadler. And the rest are just kind of all hanging around together, so to speak, about 15 meters behind Shadler. 5,000 meters.
Fritzen Mayak from USC, an outstanding runner from Kenya, about 6th or 7th in the race right now. Paul Jaspers from UCLA. Coach Bob Larson hoped that Jaspers would really be. There's Mayak there at the back of that pack.
Kalkar is there. He's the Oregon State runner.
Won the steeplechase yesterday.
68 seconds flat for Shadler at
that
400
Shadler
meters.
of Stanford University is still out on top. All right, the javelin throw of yesterday. Roberson of Washington, and there it goes. Puts the spear a pretty good way. 2:36.2, still in the air.
11 laps to go for Shadler.
Darrell Roberson of Washington, 236 feet 2, winner of the javelin yesterday, taking 10 points for the Huskies. Now that you've seen how to do it, here's our old friend again, Buster Keaton. This is a classic, ladies and gentlemen, one of the great comedic talents of the world. Form leaves a little bit to be desired. Distance wasn't much either. But the only good thing about that was he got rid of it without killing himself.
2:13.
That's Shadler of Stanford still out on top, while the field has lengthened out a bit, not nearly as bunched up. It's a lot closer together. Shadler no longer enjoying a 20 or 30 meter lead. 5,000 meters from him, 12 and a half times around the oval here at Drake Stadium.
And that's Bruce McDowell from Washington, and currently in 2nd place behind Shadler.
Arizona runner up there in the number 3 spot from Arizona. Let me see, that'd be Mark Davis, I believe. 2:46 flat.
And 10 laps to go.
By Giusto.
2:46 and 10 laps to go. Shadler continues to lead.
And Matt Giusto from Arizona, the pre-meet favorite, has now moved into a good solid 2nd place. He'll probably stay there on Shadler's shoulder for a while.
Looking at Ponat, a winner yesterday
1,200 meters. 1,200 meters.
in the shot, and now you were watching her in the discus. Yesterday in the shot put, a meet record of 55.5 3/4 for Jennifer. She's from Washington. Now you're back to the 5,000 meters, and you're watching Shadler and Giusto from Arizona, 1 and 1, and that's Van
Kalkar from Arizona State. From Oregon State.
Yeah, steeplechase winner of yesterday, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
They'll have 9 laps to go. Olison, by the way, who ran in the 1,500 meters, the Canadian from Stanford, is now in 4th place.
You know, the story, of course, one of the background items here of the track and field meet is that Oregon State is going to drop the track and field, which is a shame. Perhaps it went unnoticed and should not have. San Jose State is dropping it as well. And
indeed.
At one time was called Sprint City up there, boy.
Well, you were talking earlier about that remarkable 400-meter record as we watched the 5,000-meter runners. That 400-meter record of Lee Evans, Tommy Smith, Lee Evans, John Carlos. San Jose State has dropped it. There are problems in this sport, enormous problems in this country. And if they're not solved, the United States, with its incredible, rich tradition in track and field, could drop further and further behind. And
the rest of the world.
That's That's right, and no longer be a world power, and that could happen very quickly.
It would truly be a shame when you consider the great importance that is placed on track and field in Olympic Games competition that far exceeds just the fact that somebody won in such and such a time. There is so much overlay on track and field competition. It's unbelievable. Here's Jones of Washington in the discus, trying to use a little body English on it. Teammate of Jennifer Pona, Washington. Jennifer won the shot, was doing well in the discus. We've had Shadler, he stopped. Shadler just plain stopped, Vic.
That's right. Giusto is out there now. Van Kalker in second. Fritz and Mayak from SC back and forth. They have 7.5 laps to go. Giusto now beginning to widen a lead. He came in with the best time in the conference this year at 13:52.08. Jeff Smith from Arizona State moving up.
Shadler's got a shoe off and may have come up with a blister or something untoward. At any rate, he just suddenly quit. He'd been running at the head of the pack, and he just suddenly said, I've had enough of this. Foot hurts, and we're going to have to call it an afternoon.
As
Giusto and Van Kalkar.
Olesen and Mayak.
5,000 meters. As you see the almost non-committal look on the faces of all of those men, you realize how many thousands of hours have gone into getting them in shape to run this. Back to action from yesterday. The shot put. This bearded shot putter here, Jose de Souza of Oregon. Left-handed effort is going to result in the first place put of 60 feet, 6.5 inches. Jose de Souza of Oregon. Now that you know how to do it, bear that in mind as you see how not to do it. Oh, here's our friend again. Hi, Buster. How you doing? That's it. 2 hands. Way to go. This is Buster Keaton, ladies and gentlemen.
The women's triple jump in flight 3.
he tears me up.
All right, Tom, as they cross the finish line right now, they'll have 6 laps to go. Giusto, Van Kalker, and Olesen, 1, 2, 3. Matt Giusto beginning to extend his lead here.
And we'll be back to see how the 5,000 turns out, as well as other track and field events here. We'll be back right after this message. A Washington runner.
That's Alan Hort, has moved into 4th place.
So there you have it, and those 5 men right there from that crowd eventually will come the winner, we're sure. The rest of the field is sparse and spread out back down the track. But it looks as though anybody there who's got any kind of a kick at all might just battle for the #1 spot. Giusto, Van Kalkar, Olesen, Hort, and moving up.
And actually, there's a 5th member of that pack now, and that's Mark Mastelier, one of the Mastelier twins from Stanford. So those 5, Giusto, Van Kalkar, Olesen, Hort, and Mark Mastelier from Stanford. The race will be, as you said, Tom, between those 5.
Well, you've got a couple of Cardinal in there. You've got a Husky, and you've got a Wildcat.
Claudia Paris of USC had a best of 165.5.
Giusto of Arizona continues to lead. Van Kalkar right behind him.
Chris Larson, a best of 185.6. That is the leading throw.
Olesen of Stanford, Hort of Washington, and Mastelier of Stanford. You say that's Mark. One of the other twin would be Eric.
And they are now 100 meters away from 3 laps to go.
5,000 meter event for men.
As they cross the finish line with Giusto leading Van Kalkar, Olesen, Hort, and Mastelier, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th runners, they now have 1,200 meters to go, Tom.
Olesen seems to be weakening a bit. Hort's going by him, and Mastelier is coming up on teammate Olesen, who seems to have almost got a limp now. He's struggling a bit.
Well, Olesen ran the 1,500 meters earlier. He was the one that got knocked around in the pack and really almost knocked out of that race. Van Kalkar won the steeplechase yesterday. This is Giusto's first race of the meet, it looks like at this point, and they have 2.5 laps to go. The race really is drawing down to Matt Giusto and Van Kalkar. Giusto from Arizona, Van Kalkar from Oregon State. This could be a great finish.
Mastelier now, Stanford has gone by his teammate Olesen, who's dropped back into the number 5 spot. And now Giusto of Arizona and Van Kalkar of Oregon State have kind of moved a bit in front of Hort. So we've got 2, then 1, and then a distant pair out of the top 5. No one else is going to be in any contention.
800 meters to go as they cross the line, and Hort's moving back up. At 4,000 meters, the time was 11:13.8. Giusto, Van Kalkar, and Hort. We could have a 3-person finish here.
Mastelier is the 4th runner within striking distance. And now Giusto being challenged. Van Kalkar coming up on his shoulder.
Hort hanging in there.
Yeah, and Giusto is hanging in there too, Vic Volchak. He's not going to let...
Here goes Giusto now.
Catch up, yeah. Giusto's putting it on. When they come to the wire here, they'll get the bell. They still have a lap and a half to go, really.
600 meters to go. Giusto and Van Kalkar, they're on about a 14-minute pace.
And I think we can put Hort out of contention for the top spot. The runner from Washington has now dropped to a distant 3rd, and Giusto just has not weakened at all in keeping Van Kalkar away from him. They're coming up to get the bell.
And Giusto was the pre-meet favorite. He had the best time coming into this meet at 13:52.08, and he could very well be under 14 minutes, as could Van Kalkar. 400 meters to go.
And no excuses needed, no alibi given, but Van Kalkar also ran the steeplechase yesterday and won it, so that may have taken something out of him. And here he is back at 5,000 meters now and falling behind Giusto, who's fresh for this race today.
About 250 meters to go. Matt Giusto beginning to widen his lead on Van Kalkar.
And they're about to lap the field, as Giusto now has that margin, as you see the 2 front runners in the 5,000 meter.
200 meters to go.
And Giusto and Van Kalkar now beginning to lap the field. But it's doubtful that Van Kalkar can do anything but just finish 2nd unless he has a major spurt in him. And Giusto looks over his shoulder to see just where is the competition, and now looking back again realizes he's got things pretty much his own way as he starts to sprint. A la Graves as he closes out his 5,000-meter run, and Van Kalkar going to be a very distant 2nd, but a game effort. And
a la Sebastian Coe in the Olympic Games in the 1,500 meters, Giusto shakes his fist at the crowd. Van Kalkar with that brilliant 8:30 and change yesterday in the 3,000-meter steeplechase had a lot left here. He had a kick left at the end of this race. Van Kalkar could be a real factor in the NCAA championships in the steeplechase. You see Van Kalkar from Oregon State shaking the hands of the winner, Matt Giusto, right there.
And Hort of Washington did end up 3rd. We'll be back with more of the Pac-10 track and